My dear students, welcome back to our channel. Students, in this video I am explaining Telangana Intermediate Second Year. Subject Political Science, Civics. Part A. Long questions, 10 marks. Let's start quick revision. First important question is 1. Explain the salient features of Indian Constitution. Salient features of the Indian Constitution. The Indian Constitution is the supreme law of India and provides a framework for governance. It was adopted on 26 January 1950 and is the longest written constitution in the world. Here are the salient, important features of the Indian Constitution explained in simple terms. 1. Sovereign. India is sovereign, which means that it is free to make its own decisions without interference from other countries. For example, India can decide its foreign policies, defense strategies, and laws without any foreign influence. 2. Democratic. India is a democracy, meaning the people have the power to elect their leaders through voting. For example, every 5 years, citizens vote to choose their representatives in the Lok Sabha, lower house, and Rajya Sabha, upper house. 3. Republic. India is a republic, which means it does not have a king or queen. The president is the head of the country, and the president is elected by the people through an electoral process. 4. Federal structure. India has a federal system, which means that powers are shared between the central government in Delhi and the state governments in different states. For example, while the central government controls national matters like defense, the state governments handle issues like local education and health. 5. Secular. India is a secular state, meaning it does not have a state religion, and people are free to follow any religion they choose. For example, a Hindu, Muslim, Christian, or anyone from any religion can live peacefully and practice their faith. 6. Fundamental rights. The Constitution guarantees fundamental rights to all citizens. These rights protect freedom of speech, equality, and justice. For example, every citizen has the right to express their opinion freely and practice any religion. 7. Directive Principles of State Policy. These are guidelines for the government to create policies that aim to improve the well-being of citizens. For example, these principles guide the government to provide better healthcare, education, and social welfare for all. 8. Independent Judiciary. The Indian Constitution ensures an independent judiciary, meaning the courts can make decisions without being influenced by the government. This ensures justice is served fairly. Conclusion. In conclusion, the Indian Constitution is a unique and detailed document that ensures India remains a democratic, secular, and sovereign country. It guarantees the rights of citizens, divides powers between the central and state governments, and ensures justice through an independent judiciary. Next important question is 2. Powers of the Prime Minister of India. The Prime Minister of India, PM, is the head of the government and plays a very important role in running the country. The powers of the Prime Minister are defined by the Indian Constitution and other laws. Let's look at the main powers the PM holds. 1. Executive powers. The PM is the leader of the Council of Ministers, which helps in making and executing laws. The PM decides how policies are made and ensures they are carried out. For example, if the government wants to improve education, the PM helps create plans for better schools and universities. 2. Legislative powers. The PM plays an important role in making laws. The Prime Minister leads the government in Parliament and helps introduce bills, proposed laws, in both the Lok Sabha, lower house, and Rajya Sabha, upper house. For example, if the government wants to pass a law for better healthcare, the PM leads the effort in Parliament. 3. Advisor to the President. The PM advises the President of India on important issues like forming a government, declaring war, or making peace. Though the President is the head of state, the PM has the real power in decision-making. For example, if there is an emergency, the PM advises the President on the steps to take. 4. Foreign Affairs and Defense. The Prime Minister represents India to other countries. He or she makes important decisions related to international relations, like signing trade deals or treaties. For example, when India wants to make trade agreements with another country, the PM leads those talks. 5. Leadership of the Cabinet. The PM is the leader of the Cabinet, which is made up of other ministers. The PM decides the agenda of Cabinet meetings and guides the ministers on how to handle different matters. For example, the PM decides which ministers will handle education, health, and other departments. Conclusion. In summary, the Prime Minister of India holds significant powers in the government. These include leading the executive branch, making laws, advising the President, handling foreign affairs, and guiding the Cabinet. The Prime Minister is essential in shaping the country's policies and ensuring the government runs smoothly. Next important question is 3. Fundamental rights and directive principles of state policy. Fundamental rights. Fundamental rights are basic rights that every citizen of India is entitled to, as per the Indian Constitution. These rights protect individual freedoms and ensure equality for all citizens. There are 6 fundamental rights in India. 1. Right to equality. This means that all people are equal before the law. For example, no one can be treated unfairly because of their caste, religion, or gender. 2. Right to freedom. This allows citizens to express themselves freely, practice any religion, and move freely within the country. For example, you can speak your mind and peacefully protest. 3. Right against exploitation. This protects people from forced labor and child labor. For instance, no one can force you to work without fair wages. 4. Right to freedom of religion. People are free to practice any religion they choose. For example, you can follow Hinduism, Islam, Christianity, or any other religion without fear of discrimination. 5. Cultural and educational rights. Minorities have the right to preserve their culture, language, and education. For example, children from minority communities can be taught in their native languages in schools. 6. Right to constitutional remedies. If any of your rights are violated, you can approach the courts to protect them. For example, if your right to equality is not respected, you can go to court for justice. Directive Principles of State Policy. Directive Principles of State Policy are guidelines in the Constitution that help the government make laws and policies for the welfare of the people. These principles are not enforceable by law, but they guide the government's actions. Some examples are 1. Right to an adequate standard of living. The government must ensure that everyone has access to good health care, education, and housing. 2. Promotion of social and economic justice. The government should reduce poverty and inequality in society. 3. Protection of the environment. The government should take steps to protect the environment and natural resources. Conclusion. In conclusion, fundamental rights protect the basic freedoms of citizens, ensuring equality, justice, and individual freedoms. The directive principles of state policy, although not enforceable, guide the government in creating policies that aim to improve the welfare of all citizens, focusing on economic, social, and environmental well-being. Both are crucial in ensuring a fair and just society in India. Next important question is 4. Describe the role of JACs in Telangana movement. Role of JACs in Telangana movement. JAC stands for Joint Action Committee. During the Telangana movement, which was the fight for the creation of a separate state of Telangana, JACs played a key role in organizing protests, rallies, and spreading awareness about the cause. These committees were formed by various political parties, student groups, and social organizations that supported the demand for a separate Telangana state. Formation of JACs. JACs were created to bring together different groups and unite their voices for the Telangana cause. They worked as a bridge between the people and the government, making sure that the people's demands were heard. These committees included political leaders, social activists, and student leaders, among others. Main activities of JACs. 1. Organizing protests and rallies. JACs organized numerous protests, rallies, and strikes to put pressure on the government. For example, they conducted statewide protests in cities like Hyderabad, Warangal, and Khammam to demand the creation of Telangana. 2. Raising public awareness. JACs also focused on raising awareness about the problems faced by the people of Telangana, like underdevelopment, lack of resources, and political neglect. They held meetings, distributed pamphlets, and used media to spread the message. 3. Negotiating with the government. The JACs played an important role in negotiating with the central government and political leaders. They kept the pressure on by organizing hunger strikes and large-scale protests, demanding the government's attention. 4. Uniting various groups. One of the significant roles of the JACs was to unite various student organizations, political parties, and social groups under one cause. This unity was crucial in making the Telangana movement stronger. Example: Telangana Rashtra Samiti (TRS). The Telangana Rashtra Samiti (TRS), a political party led by K. Chandrasekhar Rao, was a key player in the Telangana movement. The party worked closely with JACs to demand statehood. They were part of several protests and helped mobilize people across Telangana. Conclusion. In conclusion, JACs played a vital role in the Telangana movement by uniting different groups, organizing protests, and negotiating with the government. Their efforts were key in building public support and pushing for the creation of Telangana, which became a reality in 2014. The movement showed the power of people coming together under a common cause to bring about change. Next important question is 5. Explain the fundamental rights as incorporated in the Indian Constitution. Fundamental rights in the Indian Constitution. Fundamental rights are the basic rights and freedoms guaranteed to every citizen of India by the Indian Constitution. These rights are essential for the development of every individual and to ensure equality and justice in the country. There are 6 fundamental rights in India, which are protected by the Constitution and can be enforced by the courts. Here is a simple explanation of each. 1. Right to equality. This right ensures that all people are treated equally before the law, no matter their caste, religion, gender, or place of birth. For example, no one can be discriminated against in education or jobs because of their background. 2. Right to freedom. This right guarantees several freedoms to individuals, such as freedom of speech and expression. You can freely express your opinions. Freedom to assemble peacefully. You can gather in a group for peaceful protests. Freedom to move freely within the country and freedom to practice any religion. For example, You can choose to speak out in support of your beliefs or travel freely in India. 3. Right against exploitation. This right protects people from being forced to work without fair pay or under unfair conditions. It prohibits child labor and forced labor. For example, a company cannot make you work for long hours without proper wages. 4. Right to freedom of religion. This right ensures that every citizen has the freedom to practice any religion they choose. No one can force you to follow a particular religion. For example, you can follow Hinduism, Islam, Christianity, or any other religion without fear of discrimination. 5. Cultural and educational rights. This right protects the rights of minorities to preserve their culture and language. It also ensures that people from all communities have the right to access education. For example, if you belong to a minority group, you can learn in your mother tongue or practice your culture freely. 6. Right to constitutional remedies. This right allows citizens to approach the courts if their fundamental rights are violated. For example, if someone violates your right to equality, you can go to the court for justice. Conclusion. In conclusion, fundamental rights are essential for every Indian citizen to live freely and equally. These rights protect individuals from unfair treatment and allow people to express themselves, practice their religion, and seek justice if their rights are violated. They form the backbone of India's democracy and equality. Next important question is: 6. Power and functions of Indian Parliament. Powers and functions of the Indian Parliament. The Indian Parliament is the supreme legislative body in India and it plays a crucial role in the country's democracy. It consists of two houses, the Lok Sabha, House of the People, and the Rajya Sabha, Council of States. Together, these two houses perform several important functions to ensure that the government runs smoothly. 1. Lawmaking power. One of the most important functions of Parliament is to make laws. Both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha work together to discuss and pass laws that affect the entire country. For example, if the government wants to make a law to improve education, it is debated and passed in Parliament. 2. Control over the executive. Parliament keeps the government, executive, in check by asking questions, raising issues, and debating policies. Ministers are accountable to Parliament for their actions. For instance, if a minister fails to deliver on promises, Parliament can question them and even ask for their resignation. 3. Approval of budget. Every year, the government prepares a budget that outlines how money will be spent on different areas like health, education, defense, etc. Parliament approves this budget, which is important for running the country's finances. Without Parliament's approval, the government cannot spend money. 4. Representation of the people. Parliament represents the people of India. Members of Parliament, MPs, are elected by the citizens through voting. They speak for their communities and raise their concerns. For example, if people in a particular region are facing problems with roads, their MPs can raise these issues in Parliament. 5. Amendment of the Constitution. Parliament has the power to amend the Indian Constitution. If there is a need for change in the Constitution to meet the current needs of society, Parliament can make amendments, but this requires a special process and approval from both houses. Conclusion. In conclusion, the Indian Parliament holds significant powers and functions. It makes laws, controls the government, approves the budget, represents the people, and can amend the Constitution. These powers ensure that the government works in the best interest of the people and upholds democratic principles. Next important question is 7. Formation of Telangana State, Unit -9, V.IMP. Formation of Telangana State. The formation of Telangana as a separate state is a significant event in India's history. It happened on 2nd June 2014, when Telangana became the 29th state of India. Before that, it was part of the state of Andhra Pradesh. The demand for a separate Telangana state had been going on for many years, and the movement finally led to the creation of Telangana. Background of the Telangana movement. The demand for Telangana's statehood began due to feelings of neglect and underdevelopment in the region. The people of Telangana felt that despite being rich in resources, the region was not getting fair treatment in terms of jobs, education, and infrastructure development. For example, many people believed that funds from the central government were not being spent fairly on the development of Telangana. The movement gained strength over the years, led by several groups, political parties, and students. The Telangana Rashtra Samiti, TRS, led by K. Chandrasekhar Rao, KCR, played a key role in demanding a separate state. In 2009, the central government agreed to the creation of Telangana, but the decision was delayed due to political reasons and opposition from some groups. The final decision. In 2013, after years of protests, strikes, and discussions, the Indian government finally decided to create Telangana. The Telangana Bill was passed in Parliament in February 2014, and on 2nd June 2014, Telangana officially became a separate state. Hyderabad, which was the capital of the combined Andhra Pradesh, became the shared capital for both Telangana and Andhra Pradesh for a period of 10 years. Challenges and benefits. The formation of Telangana brought both challenges and opportunities. One of the challenges was dividing resources like water and power between Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. However, the creation of Telangana also brought attention to the region's development needs, which helped improve infrastructure and create new opportunities for its people. Conclusion. In conclusion, the formation of Telangana was the result of a long struggle by its people to address issues of underdevelopment and unequal treatment. The creation of the state brought hope for better governance and improved development in the region, making it a historic moment in India's political landscape. Next important question is 8. 1969 agitation for a separate Telangana state. 1969 agitation for a separate Telangana state. The 1969 Telangana agitation was a major movement demanding a separate Telangana state. It was one of the first large-scale protests for the creation of Telangana and played a significant role in the statehood struggle. The agitation took place in the backdrop of deep feelings of neglect and underdevelopment in the Telangana region, which was then part of Andhra Pradesh. Background. When the state of Andhra Pradesh was formed in 1956, Telangana was merged with the Andhra region to create a unified state. The people of Telangana had hoped that this merger would lead to equal development. However, they soon felt that the region was being neglected, especially in terms of resources, jobs, and infrastructure. Many believed that the people of Andhra Pradesh were getting more benefits, while the Telangana region was left behind. For example, the water disputes, like sharing river waters, and employment opportunities were a big concern. The people of Telangana felt that despite contributing a lot to the economy, they were not benefiting equally from the state's resources. The 1969 agitation. The 1969 agitation for a separate Telangana state started when students, youth, and political leaders began demanding the creation of Telangana. The movement was largely led by student organizations and the political party Telangana Praja Samiti (TPS). People believed that a separate state would bring better development and give them control over their own resources. The agitation saw violent protests, with many students and leaders being arrested. One of the major turning points was when the student leader, P. Indira Reddy, became a symbol of the struggle. The agitation gained strength and led to widespread protests across the region, with people coming out on the streets to demand their rights. Impact and outcome. The 1969 agitation led to some political changes. The Government of India promised certain safeguards for the people of Telangana but did not agree to create a separate state at that time. Although the demand for Telangana did not succeed in 1969, the movement created a strong foundation for future protests, which ultimately led to the formation of Telangana in 2014. Conclusion. In conclusion, the 1969 Telangana agitation was a pivotal moment in the state's history. It highlighted the issues of underdevelopment and the demand for a separate Telangana state. While the movement did not succeed in creating the state immediately, it laid the groundwork for the successful formation of Telangana decades later in 2014. Next important question is 9. Describe the composition, powers and functions of Election Commission of India. Composition, powers and functions of the Election Commission of India. The Election Commission of India is an important constitutional body responsible for conducting free and fair elections in India. It ensures that elections are held in a transparent, impartial, and efficient manner. Let's break down its composition, powers, and functions in simple terms. Composition of the Election Commission. The Election Commission is composed of 3 members. 1. Chief Election Commissioner, CEC, the head of the Election Commission, responsible for overseeing the entire election process. 2. Two Election Commissioners, they assist the Chief Election Commissioner in performing various duties. All 3 are appointed by the President of India. The Election Commissioners are appointed for a 6-year term, or until they reach the age of 65, whichever comes first. They are independent and cannot be removed easily. Powers of the Election Commission. 1. Supervising elections. The Election Commission has the ultimate power to supervise all elections in India, including Lok Sabha, general elections, Rajya Sabha elections, and state assembly elections. It ensures that elections are fair and the rules are followed. 2. Control over election laws. The Commission has the power to make decisions on matters related to election laws. It can issue guidelines and rules to ensure elections are conducted smoothly. 3. Decision on election disputes. The Election Commission has the authority to handle complaints and disputes regarding elections. For example, if someone complains about unfair voting practices, the Commission can investigate and take action. 4. Control over political parties. The Commission regulates the registration of political parties and ensures that they follow the rules, like submitting regular financial reports. Functions of the Election Commission. 1. Conducting elections. The main function of the Election Commission is to conduct elections at the national, state, and local levels. It prepares the voter list, decides on polling stations, and ensures that elections are fair and peaceful. 2. Election results. After the elections, the Election Commission counts the votes and declares the winners. For example, after a general election, the Election Commission announces which political party has won the most seats. 3. Monitoring campaigns. The Commission monitors political campaigns to ensure no one breaks the rules. For example, It checks that political parties don't offer bribes or use unfair methods to influence voters. 4. Voter education. The Election Commission also educates voters about the importance of voting, how to vote, and the electoral process. Conclusion. In conclusion, the Election Commission of India plays a crucial role in ensuring the democratic process runs smoothly by conducting elections, overseeing political parties and ends.